It is the evening of November 22nd, 1987. The Chicago skyline is quiet, and the airwaves are saturated with Sunday night television. In thousands of living rooms, that routine is suddenly interrupted. A normal broadcast cuts to black, replaced by a wobbling, rubber-masked figure emitting a harsh, unmodulated buzz. This was a highly calculated broadcast signal intrusion. Nearly 4 decades later, the person behind the mask has never been caught. Investigators analyzed frequencies and microwave geometry to determine how the systems were bypassed, but the operational trail went cold. The intruder bypassed station security protocols to beam an anonymous, unapproved broadcast directly into the homes of 1 million viewers, overriding the city's controlled media space. Before the internet fragmented our attention, local television was a monolith. Viewers watched what the networks provided, exactly when they provided it. The intruder chose a specific face for the crime: Max Headroom. He was a stuttering, fictional AI personality created to satirize the corporate media structure of the late 80s. It was a digital disguise designed to mock the industry the hacker was about to subvert. The first strike happens at 9:14 p.m. Sportscaster Dan Roan is live on WGN Channel 9, running highlights of a Chicago Bears game. Suddenly, the screen goes dark. The masked figure appears, swaying erratically against a piece of rotating corrugated metal. There is no voice, just an intense 10 kHz sync buzz overriding the audio feed. Inside the WGN control room, engineers realize they are being hijacked. They quickly shift the frequency of their studio to transmitter link, breaking the pirate's lock and regaining control after 25 seconds. Roan laughs it off on air, blaming a rogue master control computer. The crew initially assumes the event was a minor equipment glitch or a freak signal dropout. While the engineers thought they had thwarted a simple prank, the quick fix only prompted the hacker to escalate. 2 hours later, at 11:15 p.m., viewers are tuned into PBS affiliate WTTW for an episode of Doctor Who. The signal cuts out again. The masked figure returns, and this time the audio feed is active. For 90 seconds, the intruder delivers a distorted rant, sings, and performs a bizarre skit involving a fly swatter. WTTW's master control staff watch in panic, unable to intervene. Their main broadcast antenna sits atop the Sears Tower, and they have no engineers on site at that hour to physically change the transmission frequency. The intrusion runs its full course, ending when the pirate decides to terminate their own transmission. For those 90 seconds, a major public station lost all control of its output to an anonymous operator using higher-powered microwave signals. To understand how this was executed, we have to look at the studio-to-transmitter links, or STLs. In 1987, television studios sent their live programming across town by beaming a microwave signal through the air, straight into parabolic receiving dishes mounted high above the city. These microwave links used frequency modulation, making them susceptible to the FM capture effect. If an antenna receives 2 signals on the same frequency, it doesn't mix them. The receiver completely suppresses the weaker signal and locks on to the stronger one. Because signal strength drops over distance, the hijacker didn't need a massive transmitter. They just needed to be physically closer to the receiving dishes. A transmitter set up in a high-rise location with a direct line of sight to the towers could easily overwhelm the signals coming from the more distant studios. The hardware required was specialized but accessible: a standard VCR, a portable microwave transmitter, and a directional dish antenna. Federal investigators estimated that piecing this equipment together on the used market would cost roughly $10,000 at the time. The availability of this hardware meant that with enough technical expertise, a standard high-rise apartment could be converted into a transmitter capable of overriding major city broadcasts. The Federal Communications Commission and the FBI immediately launched a joint investigation. They were hunting an intruder who had left a massive electronic footprint across the city skyline. Agents mapped the necessary line-of-sight geometry to a narrow corridor on the north and northwest sides of Chicago, but without physical evidence at a transmission site, the trail vanished. The investigation focused on 3 profiles. The first, broadcast engineers who had insider access to microwave gear and knew that WTTW operated with a skeleton crew on Sunday nights. The second theory focused on amateur radio operators who were capable of building makeshift microwave transmitters from hobbyist kits. The third profile suggested pranksters or students who might have scavenged decommissioned broadcast components from station dumpsters. The 1992 statute of limitations passed without a single arrest or a credible claim of responsibility. Despite a multi-agency investigation and a significant electronic footprint, the case remains unresolved. The hijackers chose to remain silent long after the legal window for prosecution had closed. Could a hijack of this magnitude be replicated on live television today? Today, most primary television networks route their studio feeds through secure, dedicated dark fiber optic cables, effectively closing the vulnerability exploited by the analog capture effect. The global transition to digital master control rooms and fiber optic pathways has removed the physical vectors used in 1987. The Max Headroom hack existed in a specific, fleeting window of technological history where broadcast power was high, but security protocols were still being established. While the systems have evolved, the identity of the person who broke the world's fourth wall and commanded Chicago's airwaves remains unknown. The perpetrator has likely lived with this secret for decades, one of the few to ever breach a major city's broadcast infrastructure and disappear. Who do you think was behind the mask?